guys, welcome back to the Job Talks podcast, the podcast that helps you find your way in life. I'm your host, Romain, and did you listen to that intro? Was it good or not? I think it was. Shout out to Nick. If you've watched the podcast before, you already know about Nick. He's the one that made the intro and the outro that you're gonna listen afterwards. Big shout out to him because we love it. We love this intro, kind of a retro vibe. That's super cool. Anyway, today I'm joined with Linda, Thalassa, and Desiree, who are both recruiters that joined the squad quite recently. And we're going to talk about everything that is happening when you are preparing to go abroad. So there is a lot to unpack because there is a lot of things that we forget or we don't think about when we are moving abroad. We know, especially nowadays, that it's quite difficult and there is a lot of preparation that is going on. So we wanted to talk a little bit about all of that. So hope you guys will enjoy this one. If you do, please leave us a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify, or if you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you guys. So yeah, enjoy and have fun.
So thanks a lot for joining. Today we're going to talk about all the tips, tricks, and everything that you guys have and you guys know about moving and preparing to move abroad. I know that a lot of us have traveled in many different places, and there is a lot of struggle when you are moving in a different country because, there is always something at first that when you're in the plane or in your car and you're like, all right, I forgot that. Of course, you forgot always everything. One quick thing, because you're not used to it, but I'm going to share statistics. So I like to have a lot of statistics to back different things up. I just started to have, because we are recruiting and helping people to get a new job abroad. So I wanted to find and understand a way why people are actually moving abroad. Of course, people are moving abroad to travel. That's an easy one. But there is also a lot of people, for the people that moved abroad for their work, 60% of them actually moved for a better quality of life. So I don't know about you guys, but I feel like that makes a lot of sense because, you can move within your country and have a better quality of life within your country. But most of the time you always see, and more now with all this social media and everything, you see places abroad that you never thought and you never saw before, and you're like, all right, that seems really cool place to live in. And we also have the chance to have a lot of statistics about which country and which cities have the best quality of life. So we know all those things that we didn't knew before, and we have the ability to move abroad. So I wanted to have a little roundtable first of where you guys actually went in different countries. Linda, if you want to have a start with that, of which countries do you actually lived in?
Yeah, I'm born in Denmark. So I lived in Denmark and I moved away from Denmark. I moved to France. First time around, I was done with my high school. And then I got offered a job. So I thought, why not move to the south of France? I don't know if it was, I was old enough to know about quality of life, but I guess it was because it's warmer in south of France than it is in Denmark. So I thought a year with the beach and sun, and that would be very nice for me. Then I moved back to Denmark. I missed some of, again, quality of life. I missed some of the food and friends and stuff I had in Denmark. And then I moved to Malta. Was supposed to be there for 10 months, ended up living there for 5 years. There were sun and beaches and it was nice and drinks were cheap. And then now I moved back to France. So, yeah.
Nice. What about whoever wants to talk first?
Yeah, so for me, I'm from the Netherlands, and it's already, I think, almost 10 years ago that I actually lived in South Africa for several months. I went there for work, but it was winter in the Netherlands. It was a seasonal job opportunity, so it was summer there. So definitely there was some quality of life improvement. Was a great experience. After that, I've traveled quite a bit, but I fell in love with Spain. So that's where I moved 3 years ago. And that was definitely a quality of life improvement. I love the wine, the weather, the food, the people, the culture. It's all yeah, I love it here. So this is still my home base.
Nice. What about you, Desiree?
Yeah, well, I have a little bit the same as Linda. I had my first foreign experience living abroad when I was 17, when I was really lucky to do an international education. And I was sent to Greece, actually, to Corfu, the island. And like she said, I wasn't worried yet about quality of life. I was doing internships, fell in love with the food, the wine, the beach. And then I had to go back to the Netherlands. You got 2 Dutchies here, and I always say I had to, but I was lucky enough to go to France to study there, to do an exchange in a business university, and then I went to the UK for an internship. And I think when I went back to the Netherlands after all of that to settle down, I guess, I figured out that that's not for me. So I moved again to Italy. And there I definitely, the same as Thalessa said, I discovered that, yeah, I do need more quality of life than I have here in the Netherlands. Not saying it's bad, but it's cold. And it's like we have our hour of sun at the moment, but that's it. It's more rain. So yeah, so that's also why I made the change to another country.
Nice. A lot of people went to different places. I see a pattern with different people coming from. Lived in France for a few amount of time. Nice, love my country. So we're gonna say that we're gonna talk about everything that is preparing for travel. Just before that, same as something that I saw in the same article of the statistics. There is currently. Currently, there was 2018. It was said by the UN that there is around 250 million people that were working in a different country they were born in. So that's quite a lot of people that obviously help with now all the internet or everyone that is able to connect and working remote. So that helped a lot. But I wanted to, guys, because I saw the one country where people are the most working abroad. I mean, the one country that attracts the most people to work abroad. What do you think this country is? Because I was a bit surprised by it.
Ooh,
That's difficult.
I want to say something like Estonia, because they have the e-residency, but that there's only 1.5 million Estonians, so they cannot all travel abroad. So it's maybe not them.
Oh, we're talking about the top country where people are going to work abroad, right? Yeah, going to.
I would think that a lot of people are kind of, let's say, inspired by the US, but that always seems so difficult to even get a visa for. So I wouldn't think that would be the country.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I thought of the US and Australia. Yeah, could be one too. But I thought afterwards, like, I was thinking about it, and afterwards I was like, yeah, like for all the European people as well, like it could be like some kind of Portugal or something, because like it's usually cheaper, for all other Europeans, and it's quite a good quality of living. But no, absolutely not. It's a tiny neutral country called Switzerland that attracts the most people to work in.
And
In
after
absolute numbers.
what?
In absolute numbers, like not even a percentage, just like absolute number.
And absolute numbers, and I was like, I couldn't understand at first, and I was like, I think there is a part of fault for French people, because actually we are on the border, and like, to be frank, like all the salaries in Switzerland are double the salary that they are in France. So there's like a ton of French people that actually work in Switzerland and live in France, and there's a lot of people that are working at the border like that, and I think that's one of the reasons for that. Same in Italy, that's exactly the same. And less in Germany actually, but yeah, actually less. But yeah, Italy, you're right. Italy and Switzerland, so attracts a lot of people. So yeah, that was a fun statistic that I found. I was like, all right, Switzerland it is then. So Obal, still working on the whole preparation thing. What do you guys like found the first thing that you regretted not doing when you prepared for a move abroad? Like, I know, like for my part, is that I kind of lost all the track of all the paperwork that I needed to do. I mean, I should have done better because in the country, I mean, in France, there is a ton of paperwork everywhere, but I kind of lost the track of it because I was like, yeah, it's going to be easier abroad. And so I forgot to prepare a lot of things. I thought about my passport for sure, but like everything that could be like work related or even accommodations and everything, I just went there and just figured that on place. So that was like, not a mistake because I sorted everything out, but I think I could have done it a little bit beforehand. So what do you guys like? Were your kind of not regret, but like the thing that you would have thought do better and do at first in the first place?
I think for me, if I can start, I think almost every trip I just feel like I packed wrong. Like I either packed too much, which was usually the case, things I really didn't need. I keep telling myself, like, if there's really something I need, I can buy it once I'm there, you know. But every single time I keep taking too much. Or what also happened is that it's kind of the opposite of it from it, but not really knowing how long I was going to stay somewhere, thinking it wasn't going to be that long. So, for example, only packing summer clothes, and I ended up staying months and months longer. So I had to buy a full winter wardrobe. Of course, when you really have no idea how long you're staying, you can't really avoid that. But that was definitely one which was not for a move, but just for traveling. It was a rookie mistake. I arrived at the gate to enter my plane to go on holiday to Israel, and my passport was valid, but only for, I think, 3 months after coming back to the Netherlands. I had no idea it had to be 6 months, so that's a mistake you make once and never again. But it was an expensive one because, yeah, my trip was basically lost. I couldn't go. Yeah.
Too bad. Yeah, I feel the same. Like about the packing. Like I had the exact same experience when I came to Malta because I don't know if you remember, Linda, but when I came, I was like actually forgot because I'm living in a part of France where it's like cold in general. Like it's like summer is basically 15 degrees, so it's always cold. But when I arrived in Malta, I was like, yeah, it's just like beginning of spring and everything, so I'm just gonna bring a jacket. But I brought like this huge like thick jacket just to come in. I was like, that's not appropriate at all here. It's like 25 degrees already.
But I
It's gonna be the
remember you had a, a massive jacket, but then everything else you had was just shorts and t-shirts. So it was it's really random.
So that was absolutely random. It's just like shorts, t-shirts, and then huge jacket because, well, why not? Absolutely random. So yeah, that's really important, is to pack really well because, as you said, like you need to like do a little bit of research beforehand, so you know where you're actually putting your feet in and what the weather is going to be. And
As long as you're traveling within Europe, I always realized when I'm moving abroad, now I've done it a couple of times, my friends always want to visit, and they can stay with me for free. But the deal is that when I move, if they say they will come and visit shortly after, I would pack them like a plastic bag size, like shopping bag size, full of some clothes or some stuff, and they will have to transport that to me. Like that's their gift for me. So I have actually managed to do that a couple of times now, where before I leave, I actually plan out. So, okay, I will go here in summer season. So these people will definitely visit me before it turns winter, which means that my winter clothes I can give to 3 different people, and they will have like what is equivalent to a suitcase of clothes down with me time and time again. Or I will pack some stuff, and then when I come back to Denmark, this is when you stay within Europe, because chances are that you will come back for a weekend stay, or visit your parents, or so you can come back and pick up some extra clothes, and people will come easily. When you travel outside of Europe, that's not as likely. But that's my trip. That's my way of like packing. So I only pack for the first few months. And then I count on other people to bring my clothes.
That's a good tip. That's a good fee.
Yeah, I think within Europe, I mean, obviously, I don't know all the routes, but even if you would have to ship a small box with some extra clothes or something, I think in most cases that would even be more affordable than buying new. So that would be something to look into. I think something else is kind of talk to some locals before you arrive, because, for example, I did check the weather. Like the what's the normal average temperature in a certain month. But then that's just temperature, and then people who are actually there can tell you, like, well, actually, there's a lot of wind, so it actually feels a lot colder than the temperature tells you. Like, just simple things like that can help you prepare a bit better on what to pack.
Yeah, definitely. If you can have like a link, to local people. I don't know how you guys like find actually local people to talk to. Like, did you like tell us, as you said, like, did you search like through like social media, or did you find like already had contact somewhere, or?
Yeah, so I would usually look in Facebook groups, because every city has Facebook groups, either for expats in general in that city, or even people from your country. For example, here in Barcelona, there's at least 10 very active either expat in Barcelona groups or Dutch people in Barcelona, and every city has groups like that. So I think that's a very easy, accessible way to talk to someone, because also the people in those groups know what it's like to be new in the city, and so they're all super helpful in giving you some information and tips.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. That's a lot of good things. I mean, we talked about like already before in another podcast about the importance to like really know and understand the whole culture of the country. Like, that also helps to understand the people living there and how the people are actually living. That can help also to prepare the trip way better. Do you guys like had like any experience, talking about back on my paperwork experience, but like, did you guys like any like struggle or issues with any sort of paperwork, like for working wise or visa or anything that actually did not go as planned, and you thought like you could have done better at first glance?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know other countries because during the internships, everything was arranged. But then when I had to do it myself in Italy, it all came like crashing down. One, it's known for their bureaucracy. So even the people who are actually already there don't really know how it's going. So you have to figure everything out. And then there are the organizations where you go to, and you go on a Tuesday and they tell you one story, and then on Thursday it's a whole different thing. It took me about 3 years to get a residency in a country, or that is not the Netherlands. I think that's a pretty long time, and I think now I have a really a good idea of how to help other people that would come to them. But at that time, I have to search it all by myself, and and to make it official, to get official documents and stuff. Even as a EU person, because I have friends from the United States who came to Rome, to Italy, and they had an even worse way, but mine wasn't easy either. So as an EU person.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
true.
I think my experience was actually very easy, both in South Africa and in Spain, mostly because I just got help. In South Africa, I was hired, so the company that I worked with took care of everything that needed to be done. To Spain, I went on my own without a company there supporting me, and so I was lazy and I decided to just hire a company to help me out with that. But I do know in a lot of places, when companies hire you, they will help you get these things sorted, or at least give you some instructions on where to go and some assistance. So yeah, if that's an option, I would always choose that, just because, especially if you don't speak the language yet, maybe it can be a complete maze, and good to get some help.
But that's true. Like, if you, as you said, like if you are moving, I mean, if you've been recruited or if you found a job somewhere, there is always some sort like of entity in the company or someone that can help get all this paperwork done, or even a recruiter that you found. And that's true that it doesn't hurt to ask. Like, to just ask like if they have something, or a way to help you actually build up and don't forget anything, because of course that would be the shame to arrive at the airport and I've forgotten any passport or anything that could be work related. But
Yeah,
These days, I think I have to mention it, COVID test.
yeah,
Like I
definitely.
heard about people who arrived and they had one COVID test, but in the airport they required another one of the speed ones. So they actually had to have two because the different airports are requiring different ones. So that's a little bit the same. Always check out the paperwork you need to travel, COVID or not. It's really different. And even countries like Israel, where you think if you don't know it, you would think that, well, it's like traveling every other places, but it's not.
That's very true. That's very true. But yeah, as you mentioned, like of course now there's the whole battery of COVID tests that you need to do, and even sometimes when you come into another country, there is quarantine and you need to stay in hotels or anything. So yeah, that's a lot of things that you take into account. How much time do you guys like think someone, like considering that they have the amount of time they want, but how much time do you think that someone needs to prepare in advance to go to another country?
I think
Pretty broad.
practically there's probably not even that. I mean, unless you need to, like request a new passport or something like that. I think it's more about how much time you need emotionally, like to prepare emotionally. If you're like, easy peasy, it's just going to be a big adventure and I can't wait to go, then you really don't need that much time, I think. Of course, when you kind of need to mentally get yourself there, but that would differ from person to person.
I'm just going to quickly back that up. As long as you're moving within Europe, it's like, when is the next flight and how fast can you put stuff in a suitcase?
Yeah.
That's very true. That's very true. But yeah, to continue on the thing that you just said, that's also one of like, not a criteria or anything but it could be a struggle for a lot of people, is just to think, maybe because a lot of people maybe think too much before moving, I don't know, but to think about all the people you kind of left behind, like even if it's not leaving people behind, but it's just like going further away from people. So there's a lot of time that when you need to, like, of course, quit people for a short period of time or longer period of time. Did you guys like have like any tips, like you managed to like have, it could be like for like boyfriend or girlfriend experience, or having like friends that you were really close to, or even family that you were really close to, that you had like quite a harder time like to go away from? I know that like for me that was kind of easier, because like my family, there was like, go ahead, just go send us the postcard when you're there, and that's gonna be fine. But I know that of course like there is some close friends that you can't see for a long period of time, and as you said, you can invite them and just say, all right, that's a good occasion for you to visit the country, but it's not the same as, all right, we're 15 minutes away, and so we can have like grab a drinks together or anything. Like, do you guys like any had like any more struggle when prepping to go abroad like that?
Yeah, but I think the same what we said before about the luggage, if it's a flight in Europe, Italy is 2.5 hours, Greece more or less the same, Spain. It's so easy to, I don't know, the distance doesn't feel that far anymore. It's very easy to get on a plane. And from my personal experience, when I said I'm moving to Italy, I think there was a month in between that I said it and then I actually went, and everybody said, friends, family, ex-co-workers were like, okay, so we'll see you there. Everybody wants to come. I think the same with Spain and Greece and Portugal. They're very popular destinations. Obviously, friends and family are dying to visit. So, you don't have to miss them, kind of.
My experience has been the same. My best friend, she booked her ticket to come visit me before I actually moved. So I knew when I left, we were saying, okay, I'll see you in 2 weeks, because she already had booked everything. And actually my 30th birthday was 2 months after I moved. And like my 4 closest friends all flew in to celebrate my birthday together in Barcelona. So it was even better than if I would have lived in the Netherlands still. So yeah, my experience has been exactly the same. It's so obviously now with COVID is different, but usually it's so easy to travel within Europe. And I mean, I can imagine if your family is like really like scared for you, maybe, then it might be difficult. But everyone around me has been very supportive. Also because first of all, they're kind of used to me always kind of traveling and being on the road and not being close by. But they knew, for me at least, it was something I wanted to do for so long. Everyone was just happy that I could finally do it.
Nice. Yeah, that's true.
For me, my friends, they booked a ticket. Like I was arriving on a Tuesday evening, and Friday afternoon they were already landing in Malta. So yeah, and I actually experienced something else that I think was quite funny. I'm not from Copenhagen, but the last 8 years before I moved, I lived in Copenhagen, and my hometown is like, with public transport, it's 6 hours away from Copenhagen. And my friends who kind of stayed around there, I saw them and spoke to them more after I moved out of Denmark than I did when I lived in Denmark. Because when I lived in Denmark, oh, Linda is just in Copenhagen, but they came maybe once a year. As soon as I moved abroad, all of a sudden, oh, they really wanted to come and see me because I was so far away and they missed me. It's really funny, but that's, again, the mind is like,
That's very true, but that's one of the funny things as well, because like same like for, as you said, like in Europe, like obviously before COVID, but it was like super easy and super cheap for some flights to go travel from one country to another. And I had like this same experience, because when I was in Malta as well, from where I am, I'm like way in the north of France, and there is actually you can directly go to Belgium and take a flight from Belgium from Brussels to directly the airport in Malta. And actually one of my friend, like if you wanted to come to my house, like who was like half an hour away from Lille, it cost him like 20 euros or something, and he booked a flight from the city where I was in France to Malta. It cost him like 8 euros. So basically, just like he spent 8 euros just to go to another country and visit me, and I had like a free apartment because I was there. It's just like that was insanely easy and cheap, like for anyone. That was super fun.
That was super
I
fun.
really think you have to think in time, not in distance, because and you have to teach your friends to think that way. And then because I had the same experience, I studied in Maastricht for a while in the Netherlands, and I'm originally from The Hague. From door to door, traveling the public transportation from Maastricht back to The Hague took me just as long as going from Maastricht airport to Barcelona airport, like literally just as long. And
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good advice. Travel from, like, think about time more than distance. That's a really good one. Speaking of that, we can try to wrap up with like the one advice, the one tip that you guys like kept in mind and always have when you are traveling abroad. I think it could be like about the whole packing experience, or about the whole traveling in general. But the one thing that you always remind yourself before going to another country, because you think, all right, that's what I need to do. What's the one tip for you?
Oh, for me, it's really difficult. I would just say go, because you can spend months of preparation, which I tried also once. But if there is the feeling, it's very important to listen to your own feeling and to listen and to act on that. If you feel like you have to go somewhere, then everything else, the papers, the documents, the housing, work, even, it will. There are ways to figure that out. Just go.
I agree. I have some friends who in the end made the move, and now also my friends here in Spain. And they've been all doubting their decision for so long. And every single one of them, once they're all settled down, they say, I don't know what I was so worried about. Like, it seems like this big deal, but it's like people have made it a big deal to move abroad. But it's really not. It's really, it's just really not a big deal. Yeah, so really just go and do it.
my mother always told me, this is Danish though, with the 3 P's, which is penge, money, passport, prevention, So that was for going out as well. So if you want to have a fun night out, these are the 3 things you need to have in your pocket to be safe. But preventions, not only condoms maybe, but could also be your documents or your medicine or whatnot you need to live. Those are the things you need. And when I say money, you don't need that much money to get started. If you get a job abroad, if you don't have money to move straight into your dream apartment, rent a cheap Airbnb. Don't be so afraid of thinking a little bit outside the box. If you know what the end goal is, that you want to have a life here at least for a year or 2, then make it work, because you can always find reasons not to do it. Always. There will always be somebody who has questions for you. Oh, are you sure about this? This could be a scam. This could not be true. This could, again, if you're traveling just within Europe, you can always go back home. Even for €8, as you said, with a flight. I mean, it's
Yeah, if I can add to that, my rule whenever I was, now it's not that big of an issue anymore, but whenever I was traveling, especially when I was younger, was like, as long as I have enough money to buy a return ticket, I'm good. I can stay. That was it. Like, I need to have, whatever happens on my bank account, there's going to be this money to fly back in case I need to. And so if you want to be very specific with that, make sure that includes like money for a taxi to get to the airport, maybe money for a one-night hotel if that's really needed to get your flight the next day. Nowadays, include some money for a PCR test if you're in a country where they're not free. But really, more than that, if you have that, you can always go back home.
That's very true. That's like kind of the thing that I always live by. But that's for everything. That includes a lot of when I'm preparing to move to another country. It's just like, what's the worst that can happen? Like for anything, like as we said about like the packing, like if you don't pack this or this or this, what's the worst that can happen? Like I don't have like a big jacket for winter. For the moment, it's all right. Like nothing's gonna happen. As you said, like I don't have a lot of money, but I have enough like to go back home or do PCR test or stay in a hotel for a week or something. That's all right. What's the worst that can happen from that? And everything that I try to live by is just by that, so that I reassure, as you said, because people are always gonna doubt that what you want to do and where you want to go, because they don't know, and nobody knows what's gonna happen. But you always have doubts and you always have questions for anything. So yeah, just keeping that in mind helps to like preparing and say, all right, yeah, what's the worst that can happen? That's not too bad. All right, let's go. Let's do it.
I never had to touch that, let's say, that emergency money, but just knowing it's there makes you feel so much more relaxed, I think.
Yeah, quick emergency funds just for in case. Not a lot of money, but just in case, just to go back to your home country. That's already more than enough. Well, thanks a lot, guys. That was super interesting. Thanks a lot for all your tips and all the interesting facts and everything that you had to share. That was super cool. Thanks. See you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Job Squad, we'll find a place for you.